Listen, Brian Flores deserves an apology. I mean, this man actively sued. I think is still suing. I'm not sure if they came to some type of agreement or not yet, but any case, at one point, what was it, 2022, 2023, sued the NFL. Since then, has been a very solid defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. And since then, has to be feeling vindicated for his feelings and how he approached Tua, because I almost said Tua turned the ball over, but yeah, no, Tua is playing terrible, bro. At the end of the day, let's call a spade a spade. Tua is playing the game of football very differently from everybody else, and usually that would be a compliment. For example, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, every time they play, it feels bigger than NFL. It feels bigger than football because it's always cinema, it's always a spectacle, and you're just getting a batshit game one way or another, no matter what team or what side you want to win or supporting. When I say over Tua, I mean he's playing god awful, and there's nothing likable about his game. There's no redeeming quality about his game. I cannot see him getting better. I could just see him not getting worse. But his worse is already going to get people fired. Now, for whatever reason, they gave the Dolphins head coach a huge contract extension, I believe, and gave Tua his money. Again, at the time, you're like, I mean, what else are we supposed to do? And that's the reason why, with this money they're giving quarterbacks now, it's kind of tricky and weird when it comes to paying these people. And man, Tua did not deserve that contract. One, the amount of concussions this man has suffered and the amount of games he's missed because of it is very concerning for his long-term health in general, but especially his career trajectory in the NFL is in question. Brian Flores did not like this guy. Brian Flores wanted to draft Justin Herbert. And you saw how Justin Herbert's been playing as a Los Angeles Charger since he got drafted, especially Friday against the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Herbert is a very competent quarterback that I believe if he was actually given legitimate receiver weapons, could be even better. And he still hasn't had that. Now has Lad McConkey, and he's getting good help. But once his receivers catch up to where he's at, it's about to be a problem for the NFL, especially the AFC West. Now, Brian Flores has to just be laughing. He has to be laughing. Bro, this game against the Bears was so interesting because the first half, I mean, throughout the whole game, he has not made it easy for Caleb Williams. He's made Caleb Williams fight for every single yard. But Caleb Williams was winning that battle the first half. Second half, not so much. Now, I will say this. I don't necessarily love Ben Johnson as a head coach candidate. I think he's one of those guys that is a very great offensive coordinator. And I think he has his role as offensive coordinator. Now, it is literally game one of his tenure as a head coach. It is way too early to write him off, and I hope for success, and I do think he's going to string together some impressive wins this season. Now, here's the issue. If Caleb Williams plays this awful for the rest of the season, there's going to be very uncomfortable conversations, and it's going to be it's not going to look good. The Bears have too much talent on the team to be playing like this. But part of the reason, let's make it very clear, is Brian Flores is putting these boys through hell. I mean, he must have called a hit on some of these Chicago Bears players, bro. Because the way the defense was flying, the way there was a point in this game, bro, where Brian Flores must have put one of the posters out for Caleb Williams and DJ Moore, because both of them got murdered on a play, and the camera panned to both of their lifeless bodies on the field, and then panned straight to Brian Flores. And that's the very epitome of this game. Besides J.J. McCarthy having an amazing game, and showing how he can bounce back from a huge mistake with that pick six. That was impressive, and honestly, I really wish I could talk about that more. But I really want to dedicate this video to Brian Flores because, man, oh man, he's had a very great tenure as a defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. There are people that I think are better defensive coordinators than head coaches just because of how good they are at one side of the ball and being in charge of everything. And one side of the ball or both sides of the ball is not easy, and it's very difficult to be a head coach. And I think that a lot of people have trouble with like the timeouts, the clock management, the play calling. There's so much that goes into a head coach, and some people are not good at that. Brian Flores is not one of those people. Brian Flores is very competent, and I do believe that he had something cooking in Miami, and he just never got a chance. He got held way back by the terrible ownership and the terrible management in Miami, which is why the Miami has what they have right now. All right. There's no way Brian Flores gets his hand on Tyreek Hill and underutilizes him the way that the Dolphins do in this offense. Okay, there's just no way. And I do think there are going to be some head coach positions opening next cycle for teams that people are not thinking about right now. And Brian Flores should be a top candidate for those teams because there's something about the way he gets his players to play inspired football when he was a head coach and as a defensive coordinator, that's very impressive. And I really want to see that happen. And it's just very unfortunate that he didn't get a chance to really build the team he wanted to or coach the team he wanted to, coach the way in which he wanted in Miami. Because I think he's a coach, one of the few coaches left in the NFL that coach very hard and demand so much from his players and can get that out of them. And he's one of those coaches. And I do believe there's a place. Now, the NFL has a beef with him because of his lawsuit. We'll see if they just get over that and he can get a job. Because there's no reason for him to go this next cycle without a job. Again, this is game one. His defense could suck for the rest of the season. That's how confident I am in Brian Flores because his sample size over the last 2 years tell me that he is a prime candidate or should be a prime candidate for some head coaching jobs. All right. And the fact that a lot of teams didn't want to take a chance on him as a defensive coordinator is very weird and very unfortunate for them, but very fortunate for the Vikings. Again, the Vikings defense didn't play the best in the first half, but they also played like they were flying all game long, never seemed tired. They seemed like they knew exactly what Caleb Williams was going to do. They frustrated the hell out of that young quarterback. And it made it very difficult for the Bears, while the offense of the Vikings caught up and said, hey, we're here to the party too. And it became a complete game of football for the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores, salute to you. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts on Brian Flores and what do you think he's going to do this season? Because I think he's going to lead the Vikings to be a very really great defense. I think he's going to take it up a notch this season.